Christmas is especially important because Argentina has majority of Christian people. It's a very Catholic, very religious country, and most of Argentinians are Christian, if I'm not wrong. And so Christmas is huge, and it's the biggest holiday of the year. Most things will be closed during Christmas, and even some companies close during the entire week of Christmas. I did write down some bullet points that I want to go over, and they don't look like bullet points to you. They look more like a script, but this time I thought I would have something written down, because if I had to sit down and talk to you about Argentina, the video would take 24 hours, which you would probably enjoy maybe, but just to keep it on the shorter side and not to like sidetrack, I thought I would write down some things. So yeah, I started. My first point is that Christmas is the biggest. Let me put this down. The biggest holiday of the year, which I already said, and decorations people start decorating on December 8th. That's the date that most of the Argentinians, especially the most religious ones, will put their decorations everywhere, and they'll put their Christmas tree up, etc. And why that date? That's, I believe, the date that the Virgin Mary was conceived. And in English, I'm not really sure what that's called, but it's the Inmaculada Concepción. I think in English it would be something like Immaculate Conception. Not conception, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the word is in English. I'm especially the 24th. That's when the biggest celebrations will take place. And on the 24th, many will go to Mass, they'll go to church, and the way I remember Christmas, we would spend the entire 24th since the morning of the 24th until late French meal. I don't know how it's spelled, but it's called Videl Donne. I think it's something like Videl and then Done, maybe. That's probably wrongly spelled. And that is slices of veal served with creamy anchovy and tuna sauce and can't fully enjoy the fireworks because I think of all the animals that are having a very hard time, you know. And then at 12 also, I remember it would be the time that we would call call your friends or text your friends and other family members to wish them a Merry Christmas. And another tradition in Argentina is to open the presents, the Christmas presents, on the 24th, or I guess at that point it would be the 25th, but we do it on the 25th at 12 a.m. So while everybody goes outside to see the fireworks, and we spend a good amount of time enjoying the fireworks outside, Santa goes down the chimney and leaves the presents. So another very big tradition and very different from traditions here in the United States is to open the presents, the Christmas presents, on the 25th, but at 12 a.m. So as a kid, you can imagine that that's the best part of Christmas. You stay up all day, kids included. Everybody stays up until 12 a.m. to open the gifts. And typically in my family, we would sit around the Christmas tree where we would have our gifts. We would put them underneath the tree, like everywhere. I would assume everywhere in the world, I believe, does the same. They put the presents down the tree, underneath the tree. But anyway, we would sit around the Christmas tree and open the presents. And the following day, when we would see my extended family, we would, my uncles and aunts, they would bring home, or we would take wherever we would spend the 25th. We would share the presents to presents that, for example, if we were going to my aunt's house, we would bring those gifts that Santa left in my house. We would take them to my aunt's, you know, which that's something that happens everywhere. But yeah, that's another tradition in Argentina, to open the present on the 25th at 12 a.m. And the next day, on the 25th, like I said, we would get together with my extended family. We would exchange more gifts that Santa had left in different homes. And so we would continue to open presents and continue to eat and eat and eat. We would make asado on the 25th, grill more beef, more meat, and we would eat all the leftovers from the previous day. So seeing all the